Okay, so I wanted to do a quick intro into my Making a Game series where I go over the components of the free softwares that I use. And the first one's Anime Studio. Then there's the game engine, which is called Unity, and the scripting software, which is Microsoft Visual Studios. And although I'm pretty proficient in rigging my characters and making them have animations and putting them into the game, I am by no means a game developer, and I only stumbled upon Unity a few months ago. So my understanding is quite limited, and all the things that I'm going to explain are going to be pretty much in layman's terms and my understanding of what's going on. As I said, I spent a lot of time in a few months back watching loads of YouTube videos and trying to get myself up to speed with making a game, and I thought it was quite easy initially, and I soon found out that it's actually quite difficult and there is a lot of things that you need to take in. And this is just, as I said before, my understanding, and this is not a tutorial, and I'm not trying to teach you how to do it. I'm just showing you the steps that I take to get my game working. Now I'll show you the websites or the YouTube channels of the guys that I got most of my scripting information from. So the first one is InScope Studios, and I got the basic look of the game from this section here, which is the 2D platform. And if I just click on it, he has a very comprehensive set of videos explaining the entire process from start to finish, and there's about 43 of them, and it is a long slug. No, there's 24 of them, so there's 45 videos, yeah. And it is a lot of information to take in, and I watch the videos over and over and over again in certain sections, because with scripting, if you get one letter wrong or one capital letter that should be a small letter, your whole script won't work. So I do suggest, if you do go take the steps that I took, watch the videos and follow everything exactly. I also combined a lot of information from this guy also, and his name's Games Plus James, and he also has a set of videos teaching you how to make a game. Now you can learn the basics, you can make an endless runner, but I use the platform, this one here, moving and jumping, and I combined certain bits from him and I combined it with the guy from InScope, and I kind of merged them together and ended up with the game that I now have. I'm just going to show you that game now. So if I just was to run into the engine and I'll press play on the game. Now I'm using my PlayStation 4 control pad, and I've got all the buttons configured to allow it to be able to move and punch and do all the things that it needs to be able to do. And as you can see, you can move left and forward, you can jump, you've got punch animations, kick, got collectibles that you can collect, you can climb the poles or all the poles within the game. There's also ladders that you can go up, which allows them to get to higher spaces. Now I'm thinking about taking out the ladders and just having the poles and lampposts for them to climb up on. Then we've got moving platforms, collectibles. Again, we've got an enemy up there. Various different things. So this is just a little sample of the game, and it's got various different punches and blocks, dodges. Now if we look at the complete engine, I'm going to try and explain this the best that I can. And yeah, looking at it is quite daunting because a lot of it's script based, and for me to go in and show you each of the scripts is going to take a long time. I'm going to show you the main script, and I'm going to kind of show you how the script interacts with the software to allow certain things to happen. So if I find my character, which is this guy, now you have a set of, this is where you place everything that's going to be within your game world. So this is the scene, which is down here, and this is your animation box, and this is where the game plays out. So I'm going to find my character now. Where is he? is here. And if I click on the player, on this side, this is all the stuff that the player is comprised of. And I'll just quickly run through all of the bits. So we have here, this is the position that the character's on and in, the X and the Y. This is the sprite animator, renderer, sorry, and this renders all of the animations and the sprites that are played out throughout the game. This is the animator, and this is what animates the sprites and how you combine all the animations together. And we have a controller here, which I'll go through in a bit, and this basically controls all of the animations. Then we have the script, and the script is broken down into a few sections, and all of these parts here, as you can see, are written within a script, and they show up within the game, for the want of a better word or an expression. And if I go through the bits, we've got the audio clip, so this is what drives the audio. We've got a jab, a grunt when he gets hit, his run sound, and various different others. We have his knife position, and this is the position that he throws his hat from. So we just set a position within the game. This says the knife comes from here, basically. This is the movement speed of the character, so if I want him to run faster, I could increase this to 20, or I can, if I was to put it to 20, press play, he now runs a lot faster. And likewise, if I was to put it to 1 and press play, he runs really slowly. This is the health bar, so whenever our character begins, he's on his maximum health level, which is 100 we've set, and his current level is 100, which you can see here. And the sword collider is the point that he punches from. So every time he punches, we have, if I was to play this out, you'll be able to see our sword collider in effect. So this is it here within our character. And if I was to press play, this little green arrow here is what actually hits our character whenever we do a punch animation. So this is what deals the damage. And we've got one for the kick, so we've got two different sources. I've got one for the front, and the kick one is for behind him. Our damage sources are what can actually damage our player. So we've got fire, which I've got throughout the level. If our player hits it, it knocks off a predefined amount of energy. Enemy kick, so when our enemy kicks, it can damage him. An enemy sword or punch, or whatever you want to call it. An enemy knife, so this is what our enemy throws. And I can have 10, 15, I've just got 4 at the moment. Current checkpoint is where our character spawns from whenever he dies. So like in most games, if you get to a certain part within a game, that becomes your checkpoint, and you can basically spawn from there whenever you die. Our climb speed is how fast our character climbs up and down a pole. The ground points are the positions on our character's feet, which indicate the ground basically, and this is what allows our character to jump. A ground radius, which is basically a point here, which tells us how big the radius, or the point of the ground, I should say. What is ground? We have this set. Air control, it allows our character to either, when he jumps, he can either, this turns off the ability to be able to move within the air when he jumps. So you can either have him when he jumps, he can only go forward, or you can have him when he jumps, he's able to pull himself left and right within the air. Points for kill, basically, as it states, you get a certain amount of points for kill, which goes onto your score. Extra jumps is if I want him to be able to jump how many times within the air. So my character has 1 double jump, and if I wanted him to be able to jump 3-4 times within the air, I'll just increase my extra jumps. Respawn delay is how long it takes our character to respawn after dying. Points penalty upon death. So whenever our character dies, how much points gets taken off. Jump force is how high our character jumps, and the final one, which is immortal time, is every time our character gets hit, how many seconds he's immortal for. So we just can't keep getting hit by the player, and most games actually work like this. So this is the script part. If I close this part out and open up the colliders, we have a box collider around our character, and this is what tells the game where our character is and what is colliding, basically hitting our character. So at the moment we have one for the floor, which I haven't shown you, which if I was to press the world, if I was to zoom out, all these bright green spots here are colliders, and this is what our character can interact with. And there's certain points within the script where you tell certain colliders what can and can't be done within the parameters of your game, basically. So we have a collider for the floor, for the car. If you want your character to be able to run on walls, you put a collider on the wall, and on different things to allow different actions to happen. And as I said, it's a very basic understanding and demonstration of what is actually going on here. But as I said, it's my understanding. So we also have, go back to our character. So this is our collider for telling our game that when it's hitting the floor, when it's jumping on the car and getting hit by our enemy. Then we have a rigid body, and this is what adds the physics to your character. So within your script, you go in and you tell the rigid body to move left, to move right, to be able to jump. You turn off the gravity scale, which allows it to basically fly. So our gravity scale is 1 at the moment, and if you was to increase it, it would basically float up within the air. So this is what gives the physics and the movement to our character. Then we have ignore collision scripts. So this is just so that he ignores his own punch. So whenever he punches, he can't be hit by himself. And this is his audio source, which drives all the sounds within our script. And another ignore collision, which basically ignores our enemy, so we are able to run through him. So that's a quick breakdown of the character side. And if you look here, there are many different scripts utilized throughout the game. There's scripts which tell the car it can be jumped on, it can't be jumped on. This is the enemy sight. This tells our enemy where our character is. So if our character was to, if I was to just go onto our enemy very quickly, if I can find him, a hoodie. He has his own script, which is not as big as the character script, because he doesn't do as much. But if I was to go to him, and show you how he works quickly, he has a sight on him, and this sight, if our character goes within this, then our enemy can see him, and then he would attack by throwing a knife, or if we're close enough, he will punch and kick. And again, you set these parameters within the script of the enemy. So we have his melee range. So if I get within, I don't know if that's 5 centimeters or whatever, he will punch. And if his throw range is 10, so if I'm here, he would punch. If I'm here, he would throw his knife. And I should quickly try and demonstrate that by, should I just bring him down quickly? If I was to bring him just down to my player rather than bringing my player up to him. And play the game. Oops, I need to increase my speed back to 12 with my player. Make it 15 this time. So now he sees me and he'll throw a knife, and I could punch him, and then he dies. And his energy goes to 0, and I've taken 1 hit, so my energy went down to 10. So yeah, this is basically a quick demonstration of my understanding of Unity and how we put all of the stuff together to get your game. I mean, the character has his health bar, he has his score on a canvas. I mean, everything's done on a canvas for the health bar. So this is our health bar here, which I've again created in Anime Studio, drew out all the pictures and imported them in. Now we'll go through that again in a later video. Again for our score. So the way also Unity works is you have levels that you make, and depending on what you want to happen within your level or how you want your level to be able to be played out, you make certain scripts that tell your game how you want that level to behave. So I've got something called a game manager, and I've also got other scripts that have a score manager, have a manage levels, a main menu, life pickup. So this script here, if I apply it to my game, this gives me a life system. So at the moment, he has 1 health bar, and if he dies, and that's it, game over. Now, if I want to add a life system, I can add it, which certain levels do. He starts off with 2 lives. So whenever his health deplenishes and he dies, 1 of his lives gets taken off. And throughout the levels, you can hide certain lives, and you can go and find them and pick them up. And we have a script. So this is what the life manager does, and this is the life pickup. We have a script here for kill player. So if I put this on I don't know, if I had a dog and I put it on the dog, and I wanted the dog, as soon as our dog hit our character and he dies, I'll put the script on it, and then as soon as the character hits it, he will die instantly and respawn in his desired position. But this one, hurt player, you put this on the dog, for instance, and now it won't kill the player, it would only reduce the amount of health by a predetermined level, so by 10, 20, 30, or whatever you want to have it. This is for coin pickup, again, damage player. This is our checkpoint script. This is our destroy objects. So as I said, there's various different scripts, and you just combine them all together and you apply them to your game, and you create different sorts of levels. I know it's going to sound very confusing. It's very confusing for me, but by doing it this way, I can give you guys a look into whether you want to actually get into it yourself, and you can actually have a look to see whether it's worth your time, because it is a lot of work and there is a lot of scripts that have to be created. And if you're not familiar with scripting, if I was to just go into the script and show you what it looks like, we have something like this, and this is the script for the player. So if we saw, we have a checkpoint, we have public fields and private fields. So the private fields are not shown within the game, but we have private fields which are serialized, which show up in the game, and you can change the speed. So for instance, the climb speed is set here, and there's a part in the script which, I don't know, it's written out, and then you go in within the game and you can set how fast you want your character to climb or decline within whatever it's climbing on. And again here, if I just go through the script quickly and try and break down my understanding of what's going on within it. So, just trying to remember. So this is the enemy script. This is the life system part. This is for the coins, the climb speed, the start position of a character. Whenever we start the game, the position that he starts in, what happens when our character dies. This is the ground points that we saw within the Unity program. The ground radius also, what is ground, the air control which I explained, and the other parts. And then this is the sprite renderer, and this is what tells our game engine when to render our sprites. Immortal, when our character is immortal, so initially it's false, and then when he gets hit he's immortal for 3 seconds, and there's various different parts. So this section here is our health stat, and when our character is dead, when it hits 0, our character is dead. This is what happens at the start of the game. So at the start, the script says grab the position of our character, render our sprite, check the rigid body. What extra jumps means, we need to find our player, find the camera controller, these are scripts, so it's finding other scripts, find the enemy script, and find the live system script. And on the update section, this is where the game starts to get scripted out. So this section here basically says, if not taking damage and not dead, transform position equals -14F, and def. This section here is the input of our jump. So I say if we import get button down jump and extra jump is not equal to 0, and not on ladder, and not on pole, and not on wall, and not on bar, and not falling, then my animator set trigger to jump, and the character jump equals true. My rigid body adds the force, how many extra jumps that we have, and then it plays our sound. And then once we're up, it says if we're falling, then it tells our game object to set our ball to land. So then it changes from the jump animation to a land animation, and it sets it to true. And then if on the ground, extra jump equals original extra jumps, and there you go. So this section here is basically the PlayStation 4 control pad. So if I press the vertical 1, it does a hard kick. If I press the circle, it does a kick. If I press square, it does an attack. And if I press triangle, it does an uppercut. And you set various different actions for different things you want to do according to what button press you press. So I have, if I press 2 buttons, he does a dodge. If I press the L2 and the R2, he does a dodge. If I let go, he releases the dodge. And these are all the actions that I've added to my game. So he's got quite a few actions and moves and different attacks that he is able to do. This is the fixed update section, which update is called once per frame. So every time the frame is played, which is 24 frames I think it is, or 12 frames a second, this is what it's called. So it's checking if the character is not taking damage and not is dead. It's basically able to move left and right, up and down, basically, and it checks if he's on the ground. And yeah, so this is the whole script. As I said, I can't sit here and go through all of it because I'm not a script master. I could not write this out myself. I had to watch the videos from, again, InSculpt Studio and compile the script and try and build an understanding of it to basically get to where I am today. So that's a quick breakdown of my understanding of Unity and the scripting side of it. Another thing I wanted to touch on very quickly was the character controller, and this is here in the animator part. Now this is what controls all of the animations throughout our game. I'm just gonna jump into it quickly. So if I double click it, I'm just gonna maximize this as well. This is what drives our animations, basically. So we have different layers. We have a ground layer. So this is all the animations that are done on the ground, the air, our climb animations on the pole, on the wall, and on our bar. Now if we look at our ground layer, basically as I've stated in previous videos, everything stems from our idle position. So this is our idle state, and we take damage and die, and we've got a second damage animations from any state. So from our idle state we have these action states, and if I double click it, this is where all of our animations are put that we basically do in Anime Studio. Bring them into Unity and animate them, and then we assign conditions to each animation. So from our, this is a lot, and there's a lot going on here, and I guess it does look quite daunting if you've never seen it before. And if I move it around, we've got different animations. So we've got a run animation from here, we've got a walk animation, our jab, our attack, and everything stems from our starting position, which is our idle position. So we can crouch from idle, we can attack from idle, but there are certain things we don't want to do from idle. For instance, we've got a dodge. Now our dodge comes from idle, but to get into our second dodge we need to be doing our first dodge. So we can't actually get into our second dodge from our idle state, we need to be doing it from our first dodge state, if that makes sense. And we've also got punches for our dodge animation, so we could only punch from our dodge. And we've got attacks, so for instance we can attack from idle, but we can't straight from idle, but we can straight from attack. So if I press the attack button and then press it again, it will go attack straight. So yeah, I don't know, it's quite difficult to explain, but when I do go through the videos and later on down in the series, you'll see how I put all of these all together, and hopefully it will make a little bit more sense. Yeah, it is a lot of work and a lot of information to take in, but you know, nothing's easy in life, and I would say go and check out the videos from the other two guys that I'll leave a link in the description below and try and make your game.